interesting article today, guys. And this interesting article I found in the Fraser Institute made a sort of critique of the position that the Liberal government, federal government, is taking about Canada's fiscal situation. So if some of you might know, we have seen a lot of rhetoric from Christiana Freeland and Justin Trudeau stating that we as a country have a low debt to GDP ratio. And the Fraser Institute has taken it upon itself to critique and analyze this statement of the government. So their article is titled, "Caution Required When Comparing Canada's Debt to That of Other Countries." They say in this summary of the longer report that the federal government continues to rationalize its debt-financed spending based on international comparisons, showing Canada with the lowest level of debt in the G7, supposedly. Of the two broad measures of debt, gross debt includes most forms of debt, while net debt is a narrower measure that accounts for financial assets held by governments. By using net debt as a share of the economy, GDP, Canada ranks 5th lowest of 32 countries and lowest among the G7. By using gross debt as a share of the economy, Canada falls to 26th of the 32 countries and 3rd lowest in the G7. Canada experiences the largest change in its indebtedness ranking, falling 21 places when the measure shifts from net debt to gross debt. Gross debt, okay? Which is much more practical than looking at the net debt. One reason for this pronounced change in its ranking is that the net debt includes the assets of the Canada and Quebec pension plans. Okay? Canada and Quebec pension plans. So, you know, the CPP and the QPP, or whatever they would like to call it in Quebec, and they're French. I'm sorry, I don't know the French pronunciation of it. Which have the unique approaches to funding retirement plans, unlike most other industrialized countries. The CPP and the QPP invest in non-government assets, including equities and corporate bonds. As of December 31st, 2023, according to Stats Canada, there were net assets in the combined CPP and QPP of $716 billion. According to the IMF data, the difference between Canada's gross and net debt was approximately $2.7 trillion. The difference between Canada's gross and net debt was approximately $2.7 trillion at the end of 2023, which means that the assets of CPP and QPP explain more than 1/4 of that difference. Now, to go into the article's further summary, the federal government continues to rationalize its debt financing based on its international comparisons. Of the two broad measures of debt, gross debt includes most forms of debt, while net debt is a narrower measure that accounts for financial assets held by the government. The IMF is looking at net debt, not the gross debt, which in our case, and in most people's understanding, the gross debt is what they think and what we look at more realistically when looking at a country's indebtedness, okay, and this people's indebtedness. While net debt is explained as being the financial assets held by a government. By using net debt as a share of the economy, Canada ranks 5th lowest of 32 countries and lowest among the G7. By using gross debt as a share of the economy, Canada falls to 26th of the 32 countries and 3rd lowest in the G7. Canada fell 21 places, and when the measure shifts from net to gross debts. And I explained to you why Canada's net debt was way lower in terms in comparison to other countries, while their gross debt, which is the realistic view of debt, was way, way, way higher and way worse than the most other G7 countries and other advanced economies. So do not fall for the false and misrepresented rhetoric presented by the Liberal government. The government is lying to you. I can tell you that. Others will tell you that. It's not some sham or conspiracy theory. The government is trying to cover up their fallings and their failings, okay? And they are taking missteps, and they want to not show that to the Canadian people. And they're trying to make it look like the situation is not as bad, but it is really, really bad. You should right now take a concern, and you should be very weary of what is going on in the country's financial situation. You feel it, I feel it, everyone feels it, from rich to poor to anyone, black, brown, any demographic you want to go into, gender. Everybody in this country is feeling the financial decisions of the Liberal federal government, and it is not good. We should rise above our creed, race, our rich, poor status, and we should take a good, hard look at the financial situation we are in right now and hold those people accountable who have put us in this situation now and who are continuously burying us in this hole while they just try to cover for themselves by lying to us. Sorry for that little spiel and rant there, but I thought this would be a very important thing for a lot of Canadians to know about. Those who actually care about the truth and what is actually going on. Thank you very much for listening to my little angry rant, whatever you want to call it. And I hope you feel a little more aware and a little more enlightened to what is the reality of our situation in Canada. Thank you. Bye.